Hey guys. So I had this idea. I want your honest opinion. I have had this poem that I wrote in middle school that people have always suggested for me to submit it to be published. So before I go and do something humiliating and embarrassing, because I'm going to give you the whole backstory on the poem as well. I want your honest opinion. Is it good enough to be published, or is it just something that I should keep sacred for myself and my family? Okay, I'm going to start off with I was a very unruly and bad child. And when I say bad, I had a defiance disorder that I was diagnosed with, I think in like kindergarten age. I was very hyperactive, ADHD as well. So I tended to get in trouble a lot at school. With that being said, hold a minute. With that being said, the defiance order was against any form of authority figures. So I was naturally in school suspension. Had got caught up on all my work that day. And decided to write a poem. Now, this poem is about hang on, guys. Was about the poem was about I'm sorry I get emotional with this story, but the poem was about a man that I was involved with that created my childhood sexual traumas. So, as I say, I was in middle school, sixth grade, I believe, and this was still going on. It had been going on a couple years. I can remember telling one of my teachers that I was engaged. No, this is sixth grade. But yeah, so sixth grade, I was probably 12, 13. He was 24. He was a police informant in this little town in Dahlonega, Georgia, that I lived with my father. So, I want you to know the whole backstory, because they're like, how do you have affection for this person if they went to prison for 20 years for doing this to you as a child? Brainwashed, guys, brainwashed. I didn't want my family hurt, which my father ended up being not alive. And I do believe he had something to do with it, but because he was a police informant in the small town in Dahlonega, the hillbilly police didn't want to really pursue any investigation about it. That's another story. A backstory, if you guys go way back, I think I talked about it a little bit in another video. But this is a positive story. I just wanted you guys to have the backstory. So this poem was written to a child predator by one of his victims. That's how I want you to look at it, okay? But it was called Love. And this is how it goes. Love. Love is like a peaceful dove. It's like a beautiful butterfly up above. But love is very hard to explain. It feels so good inside, but yet then again, it can also hurt when that dove turns to meanness and the butterfly falls to the earth, and you just want to die. You want to shrivel up inside. You feel like you could burn in hell and still not feel as much pain. The pain that love brings. Love. All right, guys, that is the poem that I wrote in sixth grade and in school suspension, because I was a troubled child who had been sexually abused for a couple years by now, resulting in a pregnancy. The child did not survive that. With nothing, I didn't do anything. It was natural. I had a miscarriage. I was just too young, I think. He would be about 30 years old now. And it still get emotional. It was Memorial Day when I lost him. And I say him, I've always said him, but I have 3 other boys after this miscarriage, so I always just say him, but we really didn't know the sex. But that is my story time for you guys, TikTok, as well as an inspirational poem written by a child being sexually abused. So I want your guys' real thoughts on it. Should I pursue getting it published? Or should I just keep it to myself? Because unless you really know the backstory, it would just seem like another poem, right? Let me know what you think.